No Man's Sky has just received a whopping free update, adding all sorts from new modes and base building to a completely reworked planet algorithm. Now, for some people, of course, the Foundation update will be too little too late and they won't be tempted back. And that's fine, of course, it's their choice, and I'm not here to rehash the debate on how No Man's Sky was previewed versus how it turned out on launch. Whatever your feelings on No Man's Sky though, it has to be said this update adds an awful lot, so for those who may be interested in what's different, here are 7 things the Foundation update changes about the core experience of No Man's Sky. Number 1, Foundation gives you a house. Or, okay, well, it gives you the choice to build a house. See, while No Man's Sky was once a purely transient experience, hopping from one planet to the next and rarely staying in one place for very long, you can now nominate a planet to be your homeworld, establishing a base for yourself. This will show up as a starred icon on your heads-up display in the same way your ship does, so you'll always be able to navigate back to it. And while your base may start out small, you have the opportunity to expand it with the all-new base building system. I need to pause at this point to emphasise that ordinarily I'm crap at building bases, or, well, anything at all, really, but it's really quite easy to snap together a half-decent base with the tools on offer. Once you've built it, you can fill your base with stuff like weapons or tech terminals, more on those later, and you can also put in hydroponic stations for easy resource gathering. When playing in normal or survival mode, however, all these items and rooms cost resources to build, which leads neatly on to... Number 2, the grind has changed. With so many new craftable items being introduced in the Foundation update, and each of those items having a cost, there are suddenly a lot more reasons to gather resources in No Man's Sky. A lot of the basic structural elements of base building, thankfully, use pretty common elements. Iron isn't tricky to find, for example, so building a sprawling base won't be a hardship. With some of the more exotic base features, however, you're going to need to do a bit more legwork in order to gather the necessary. So, while in a sense the grind has deepened in No Man's Sky, it's also got more of a point to it. Gathering resources isn't just about keeping your life support system going, refueling your hard drive, or building toward a new tech anymore. You're working toward a bigger, more functional, more personal base, and there's something about seeing the results of that hard work laid out in front of you that's kind of rewarding. I imagine base building will be a bit of a faff for some players and they may not really engage with it, but for others, I think it'll inject a much needed sense of purpose beyond the game's loftier goals like finding the middle of the galaxy and unravelling its strange mysteries. Number 3, you have allies now. One of the best bits about the Foundation update is that you're not so much building a base as making yourself a clubhouse. See, some of the terminals you can build require dedicated technicians to run, and you need to go recruit those individuals from space stations, asking them to give up their life as a free agent and go man a desk in your base for all eternity in case you want to pop home and upgrade your mining laser, or something. It's a bum deal for them if I'm honest, but it's pretty great for you. Not only does it mean you can develop new technologies from the comfort of your own home, but it makes the whole experience feel less lonely. For the first time in No Man's Sky, you've got mates. Talking to them about how you're going to make things better and getting little quests from them in the bargain injects a bit of personality into proceedings, giving you someone to interact with, however briefly, instead of just a shopping list of elements you need to build something from an in-game menu. Building a base for yourself and stocking it with mates who want to help you do more things adds some much needed structure to No Man's Sky, and it's a welcome shift. Even if you're one of those players who's decided to skip the grind altogether, because number 4, Foundations makes No Man's Sky easy. No Man's Sky has an all-new creative mode for you to play around in should you want a break from refueling your launch thrusters or hearing about how low your life support system power is from the robot lady who lives in your helmet. As well as giving you unlimited health and fuel, creative mode also eliminates all crafting costs, meaning you're ready to complete pretty much any task the instant you hear about it. Creative mode kind of strips out a bit too much of the challenge for my liking, even though that's kind of the point, but it is an excellent way to try out some consequence-free base building. That way you'll know which bits you want to build without having to scrape together the resources beforehand, especially handy when you're barely able to scrape together enough to keep yourself alive, because, you see, number 5, Foundations makes No Man's Sky hard as nails.
Shields down.
The other new mode added to No Man's Sky is Survival Mode, which promises tougher enemies, greater resource demands, and, of course, scarcer resources, just to really put the boot in. And believe me, they aren't kidding around with this stuff. When I jumped in, I was on an ice planet that decimated my thermal protection in no time at all, was very scant on the resources required to fix my ship / keep myself alive, and oh yeah, my ship was a 10-minute walk away, guaranteeing I'd freeze to death before getting even halfway there. And believe me, I tried. In the end, I had to scrape together an override chip to call my ship over, once I'd crafted the 7 carite sheets needed to get it off the ground in the first place, that is. Maybe I landed on a really foul planet, but either way I think it's clear survival mode is not for the faint of heart. But still, while a planet may be doing its very best to kill you in minutes, it's not all bad news. Number 6, the planets are a bit more interesting now. I may be underselling exactly how big a change this bit of the Foundation update is, to be honest, because the system with which planets are procedurally generated has essentially been broken down and rebuilt. The terrain is now designed to be more varied and interesting, which I certainly saw in a few planets, and there are also desolate, barren worlds for you to contend with. The wildlife, meanwhile, is also meant to be more varied and surprising, though, somewhat disappointingly, it apparently hasn't lost its obsession with tentacle monsters. Still, can't win them all. And point number 7 on this list is that the Foundation update shrinks the galaxy, which might sound weird for a game that's all about limitless exploration, but stick with me. See, claim a home base for yourself in No Man's Sky and you'll see a lovely whirling portal thing on the wall. These have also been added to space stations, which is pretty significant, because if you interact with one of these teleporters, it'll take you straight back to your home base. The one in your home base will even do the return journey, which is really handy if you want to do some speedy trading and haven't got the inventory space to do everything in one trip. Most importantly, however, it means you can explore as much as you like without having to worry about getting home again. No matter where you are, you'll be able to zip home for as long as you need before resuming your adventures where you left off. And your ship follows you, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but there it is nonetheless. And there you go, 7 things the Foundation update changes about No Man's Sky. I didn't get a chance to talk about the new space freighters because frankly it'll be ages before I'm rich enough to be able to afford one, so if there's anything else you've been playing around with that isn't mentioned in this video, why not share it in the comments below? Hopefully you found this video interesting. If you did, there are plenty more for you to watch on our channel, some of which are on screen now. Do consider liking and subscribing, but if you don't fancy it, no worries. Have a nice day, and thank you very much for watching.